All right, so I'm going to show you how to graph a piecewise function. Now, hopefully you've already looked at evaluating it. Okay, so here's a good way of doing this. Okay, so the value they give you, that's what we're going to plug in. All right, so we're going to plug in a value of 3 into this equation. All right, now, so I have negative 2x plus 1. I am putting 3 into this equation. So negative 2, I wonder why that's disappearing on me. Negative 2 times 3 plus 1. All right, so I have negative 6 plus 1, which is negative 5. All right, so I put in an x value of 3, so I'm going to go ahead and graph this point. I'm going to graph 3, negative 5. All right, so I'm going to come over here and go to 3, negative 5. All right, so it says click and drag to make the line. All right, so I also am going to go in the direction. So I have to know this as well. So here we go. All right, so I'm going there to start. All right, and I am going to, we're graphing stuff bigger than 3, so I'm going to be moving left to right so I can apply the slope in a normal fashion. My slope is negative 2 over 1, so I need to start here, and I'm going to go down 2 and over 1. Down 2 over 1. And actually, I can do this. I forgot this trick. Okay. So once I have it here, it says click on the endpoint to change the line. So it gives me some different options. So when I double click on it here, it gave me that it's going to continue forever. And it is. As x goes, this is every number greater than x. Okay. But I also need to click here because it's open. All right. Now to graph the other part. Okay, now we're going to plug in negative 3 into this equation. So I have negative 3x minus 11. Okay, I'm putting in negative 3, so negative, cross all that out, negative 3 times negative 3, okay, because negative 3 is taking the place of x, minus 11. All right, so that's 9 minus 11, which is negative 2. So when I put in negative 3, I'm getting out negative 2. All right, so I know I'm going to start there. Now my slope in this case is the number in front of x, so my slope is negative 3 over 1, which generally means that from left to right I would go down 1. Normally it would say down 1 and right 1. Okay, because the top number is negative. We're going to be going backwards, okay, because we're graphing everything smaller. X is smaller than negative 3. So I actually will be graphing 3, negative 1, which means I'm going to be going up and left. Okay, so I'm going to start at negative 3, 2. Negative 3, negative 2. I'm going to go ahead and click. And I said I need to go up 3 and left 1. Up 3, left 1. I'm going to double click here because it's going to keep going that way forever. And I'm going to make this one open as well because it's just the greater than or less than sign. All right. And just kind of as a double check, I kind of look at my equation and say, well, do I have a slope of negative 3? Okay, went down 3 and over 1. And does it look like that this thing would hit somewhere around negative 11? Yeah, it kind of does. Maybe I might be a little high based off of what I'm doing here. I wonder if I can click here. Yeah, see there? And it shows I haven't quite hit it at negative 10, which, yeah, I probably will hit at negative 11. All right, make sure I leave that open. And just for the sake of it, I can click there to see, yeah, it does go through the y-intercept of 1, and I have a slope of negative 2. So let me get rid of that again, make it open, and submit. And of course, an error occurred. But I'm quite certain that I'm right, and let's just see. So that's their graph. And there's my graph. They are identical. So I am correct. Okay. So this one's a little bit different. I'm going to do this one. All right, so let me just look here real quick. So last time we used the number that it was equal to. In this case, we know we're only graphing a line between the x values of -6 and -2. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to use the smaller one, okay? Because I prefer to move left to right, okay? So, well, there's our answer ahead of time. Kind of a plus for the, oops. Oh, okay, so I'm going to do, let's do this one instead. This is actually a better problem anyways. All right, so once again, I'm going to be in between values. So I'm going to choose my smaller value first. All right, so the difference here is no matter what my x value is between -6 and -1, not including those numbers because it doesn't say or equal to, my y value is going to be -5, okay? So I'm going to go to, so basically that means that I'm graphing -6 as my x and -5 as my y, and I'm also going to be graphing -1 as my x. If I go to -1 on my x, my y value is also -5. So I'm going to start by going here to -6, -5, and I'm going to click, and as they say, click and drag. I'm going to drag until I get underneath my x value being -1. So as you can see, I've graphed -5 between the values of -6 and -1. And I need to make both of those open. All right. Now I'm going to work left to right. Okay, so I'm going to start with the value here. I want to move left to right so that I can graph my slope easily. Okay, so I'm going to start with the x value of -1. So I'm going to take -1, and I'm going to plug it into the equation 2x minus 6. All right, so this equation is used when your x values are between -1 and 6, not including those numbers. So I'm going to say 2 times -1 minus 6. That gives me -2 minus 6, which is -8, which means when my x value is -1, my y value is -8, and I'm going to start there. So I'm going to go to -1, -8. I'm going to click, and I'm going to drag according to my slope. Now my slope is here. The number in front of x is my slope, okay? If it's 2, that means it's 2 over 1, so I'm going to rise 2, go over 1. Whoop, that is not over 1. So up 2, over 1. That uses my slope. And I am going to kind of play around with this because I'm not positive how this works. So I wonder, all right, so I can't get it to go to that point exactly. So what I'm going to do is unclick it, and I'm going to click and drag again until I'm going to keep this line straight. I got to keep it straight. Actually, I just thought of something. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to keep this here and go to my x value being 6, which means I should be at, when my x value is 6, my y value is 6. So I'm going to keep this until I get to 6, 6. So I'm going to double click again, and I'm just going to go to 6, 6. So there's 6, there's 6. All right, I am at 6, 6. Leave it there. All right. Double click, oh, not double click. Let's single click it, make it open. Single click, make it open. All right, so they're both open because that was open. Hopefully we won't have an error and I can get a confirmation that I am correct. Well, wait 1 second, double check. All right, so we have a positive slope of 2 starting at a y-intercept of -6. So there's a y-intercept of -6, and it's increasing, going up 2 over 1. So that slope is done correctly between the values of -1 and 6. And this one is -5 between the values of -6 and -1, but not including those numbers because, again, those were open. Had they been closed, if we'd have been using the, let me just put it over here, if we'd been using the or equal to sign, one of these, we would be filling those dots in. We'd be using a closed dot versus an open dot, okay? Something like that, okay? So let's see, just makes me feel better. And again, an error has occurred. I don't know why. So there's the solution. I'm just going to click on it. Yes, I did it correctly. All right, as you can see. All right.